It's 5:31 p.m. We'll call this meeting of the Community Preservation Committee to order. It is Thursday, December 11th. And we are at Town Hall, 26 4th Street in the Rope Meeting Room. And Len, would you call the roll, please?
Sure. Michael?
Yeah.
Bill?
Yeah.
Myself, yes. Tim?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
And Ed, yes.
Yes.
So one of those things, can you say?
You received the agenda
Thank you.
by email from Kristen. I have a motion to accept the agenda as written.
I'll move it.
And second? Second. Okay, and we'll call the vote.
Okay. Ed?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Bill?
Yes.
And Michael?
Yes. We also received the minutes from December 4th, 2025. Are there any errors, omissions, or corrections to be made to that? And if not, could I have a motion to accept those minutes?
Motion to accept the minutes.
Motion, do I have a second? A second. All right. Len?
All right. Bill?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Tim?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
And Michael?
Yes. That's unanimous. Next on the agenda is review the debt service past years. Lynn Barrett was here with us to go over that.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome.
Thank you. So the last time we met, I don't think it was the 4th, but it was the meeting before that.
Yes.
We had talked about the finances, and Tim specifically asked about the debt. So he wanted to see sort of a debt picture of the last 5 years of what's been going on. So what this little spreadsheet that has the green and the yellows on it, this one right here. This shows you over the past 5 years, different projects that we have voted at town meeting to authorize to borrow. And then that's all highlighted in the green areas. Each project is listed, the town meeting that it was voted upon, the fiscal year that it pertained to, and the amount that was authorized. In the yellow, those are projects that we have since paid down the debt. We have reduced it and paid with available funds. So over to the right shows you sort of where we stand right now with the authorized debt projects that are continuing or haven't started yet, that kind of thing. So in summary, right underneath this little spreadsheet, over the past 5 years, we've authorized about $23.5 million of debt. And we've paid down about 11.3 million of that debt. So that leaves this net of about 12 million. Some of the debt that got paid down was either through available funds from town meeting or grants that were received to reduce the amount, something like that. And then also we rescinded some debt at town meeting that wasn't needed. For example, the Spire Center, that project came in under budget. So that's what the top section is.
Again, going back to the Spire Center, the 600 in green, Stevens Field 4.9 in green, and Jenny Pond 2.2 in green. Then I follow over to the yellow, and this is where we're paying that all off.
Yep. So Stevens has all been paid off.
Yeah,
With available funds.
okay,
Spire is all paid off.
yeah,
Jenny is reduced by a grant, so the town or CPC shares this 1.1 million. So, and we've borrowed that temporarily,
Yeah.
but we still have to pay it back. So that's sort of still outstanding, so to
that's
speak.
the 1.1,
Yep,
and that takes us to 2024. In 2025, the last 2 years, or what am I looking at? Those are the authorizations and the pay downs. All right, good. Thank
Yeah.
you. Got it.
okay.
So the remaining debt after fiscal year 2026 is 12,124,000 and change.
Yeah, so it's authorized. We haven't borrowed it all, but once the project gets started, then we'll start borrowing it. So for example, Cranberry Commons at Red Brook, the affordable housing project, that's a $4 million project that town meeting authorized, but the project hasn't started. We haven't borrowed any money yet for it. So it's authorized.
We're
and
looking
it's-
for it.
But
Yeah.
this is anticipated date, $12
Anticipated.
million.
Yep.
Mhm.
Exactly. Yep. So that's what this top section is sort of showing you, sort of where we stand right now with these projects. Underneath the yellow highlighted area there, I just wanted to show you in the past, the history that town meeting has authorized other projects for CPC, and we've paid them down, paid them off. And you'll see that it dates back to 2006. The acquisition of Center Hill Preserve was 4 million, 1820 Courthouse. This building was 5 million. Symes House was 1.6.
Six.
1.6.
Mhm.
Mayflower Meeting House down the street here was 1.9. So those projects have all been completed. They're all been paid down. There's no debt outstanding for those projects.
Slightly off topic, but the meals tax, how much of that got paid off to to this building?
So so there's two funding sources at town meeting for this whole building. This section of the building, the old 1820 courthouse structure, was, we borrowed $5 million for that and used that towards this. I mean, this section costs a lot more than 5 million, but that's what we use for this section. The rest of it and some of this was voted at town meeting for 33 some odd million, and we're using the meals tax to pay the debt, the principal and interest on that project. So we're still paying that every year.
Is the meals tax put towards it so far?
Oh, I have a wonderful spreadsheet that I can bring to another meeting and I can show you. I don't have those numbers like on the top of my head,
Yeah.
but we have a very detailed spreadsheet of that and how much has been put towards that project so far.
So Len, can I ask a question?
Mhm.
So am I not remembering correctly that Dark Orchard and Gilmore was funded without doing any borrowing?
Yeah, so what you're seeing there is we have to go to town meeting and authorize the project.
Like,
If it pertains to a grant, the grant is used to reduce the borrowing. So once the grant comes in, those amounts will get reduced. So Dark Orchard Trail, they got $100,000 grant, but that was authorized at town meeting for borrowing. They've been approved for the grant. Once we spend the money and we get reimbursed, then that will fall off. But we're not gonna incur any debt for that. We're not gonna borrow for it because we spend it and then we get reimbursed like within 6 months. It's not, we borrow from ourselves, basically.
right, is the Jenny Pond gonna eventually require borrowing?
Yes, we've already started borrowing on Jenny Pond.
So is
We already paid back half of it.
is it safe to say that wholesale Orchard Trail and the Gilmore Land acquisition potentially will not involve any borrowing?
I wouldn't say that. Gilmore and Dark Orchard are gonna be paid off through grants.
Okay,
But Full Sail, there are no grants associated with that project. We will be borrowing some of that and eventually paying off with available funds through CPC. Yep.
The bulk of this borrowing authority was in 2023 and 2024. Right, through town meeting,
Yes.
right,
Yes.
18 million worth in 2 years
Right.
in granting authority.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's where the bulk of the 12 is coming from.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I
Okay,
mean, okay,
so in 2000 and let's just look at your final number of 12. which incorporates all 4 years, right?
Yeah, so the summary, this just says what we've authorized and what we've paid down so
Mhm.
far. So we have 12 million outstanding.
Right. So if I, right now, currently in 2025, so if I went back to fiscal 2023, that number would have been the 7,751,000,
Mm-hmm,
right?
yep,
So you can see we've increased
yeah,
what our potential borrowing is over this time frame. So
mm-hmm.
I would hope to see that come down drastically.
But 2006 to 2018, you also spent and reduced by 12,000,000
Yeah.
600.
Down this section right here.
Well, I understand, but I'm looking at what we have
Oh, sure.
currently
Yep,
versus what we currently had back in 2023, regardless of
right.
pay down.
But prior to this, we authorized.
Which has the potential of interest being accrued
Mm-hmm,
is these bottom numbers, the 12 million versus the 7.8, let's call it.
right. I guess what I'm just saying is it's not uncommon for this to happen because we did $12.6 million of
Right.
projects prior to.
Right, so what I want to see going forward, in my estimation, well, I'm gonna be on this committee, whatever time frame that is to see this number of 12,124,000 drastically be reduced over
Mhm.
the next couple of
Yeah,
years.
and we'll have an opportunity to do that tonight when we vote.
So you have the 12 million that Tim is mentioning. And yes, we did have 12 million, but that was over nearly a 12-year period of time. This is a 4-year.
Correct, with the bulk of it happening in 2023 and
Yeah.
We're moving it around. I'm just saying, we're
We're
moving.
moving in the wrong direction,
Very
we're gonna
rapidly.
start moving into the right direction.
But I'm
Yeah,
just pointing out that 12,600,000, $32,523 was over nearly a 12-year period of time.
understand.
So
I perfectly understand
Yeah.
that, but we've got to head in a different direction.
I'm with that, just know.
Yep,
Okay,
So can I just ask a kind of a more of a process question on this? So I'm making the assumption that we won't have to borrow for Dark Orchard, we won't have to borrow for Gilmore.
right,
We
Okay.
possibly would have to borrow, just saying it, for the for the full sale. It's 875,000. Maybe not, we have some free cash and we could apply that. If we have some additional free cash, could we then use it to offset the borrowing from Red Brook and Jenny Pond?
yeah, so what we can talk about this when we talk about your projects that you're going to be voting tonight for town meeting. But my suggestion is that we pay off those projects that we've already started to borrow for. So for example, the Plymouth Area Coalition for the Homeless, that project is almost complete. And we're going to be making our final payment to them probably within the next month. So we have to borrow that whole 3 million. We've already paid off 398,000 of it. And I'm gonna recommend that we pay down another 400 and something of it, and then you can use your available revenues to pay down even more. So, and then then the next one would be Jenny Pond, and then the next one would be Town Brook. So I would sort of,
start paying back.
start paying off the ones that the projects have already started, we've already started borrowing money. Okay,
Because if you think about it, we're spending this year $300,000 on interest, right?
and this.
97,375.
Yeah, so the bottom section is our debt service over the past
Right.
5 years or so that you see here. This is what we've paid in these particular fiscal years for interest, and then in one of these years, 2022, the timing of the Mayflower Meeting House was such that we were long-term borrowing. We were doing a bond issue and it included a whole bunch of other things. And we put the Mayflower Meeting House in there and we only owed another 800 something left on it. So we put the principal and interest in there for just 1 year, paid it off in 1 year. So that's why that number is a little bit higher than normal. Okay,
So can we talk about this sheet a little bit, or maybe we should talk about,
so that has to do with,
The budget for next year, right?
yeah, I mean, that
That's what
has
we want
to
to-
do sort of your budget and what we're gonna recommend for your voting tonight.
Yeah, it's further on the agenda.
okay,
The way we set up this agenda was sort of strategic because we want you to make a decision on the 3 projects that have been submitted to you. And then that will determine, I mean, these 3 particular projects could affect the revenues that are available for to pay down debt, very minimally though, because you have, all 3 projects are historic projects. You have, what is it for? What do you have? We still, yeah, 600 and, I can't even read that because.
668.
668,000 in the historic reserve. So that money would be available for those 3 historic projects. You can't use that money to pay down debt for open space
Right,
or
right, 'cause
housing or
designated.
anything like that. It's designated. So that's why we sort of wanted you to make a decision on those 3 projects. And then based on those decisions, if we had to eat into the budgeted reserve, this 2 million for a little piece of it, then we would know how much we have left to use to pay down debt.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So if you wanna continue, I mean, unless there's any other questions regarding debt, but.
On past year's debt service. In this case, we move on to the next agenda
If I
item.
may, very informative and thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you very
Yeah,
much.
it's really dumbed down a lot, so I can really understand it.
It takes a
All
lot
right,
of
I'm
work.
gonna eat
She's probably like put it together, let me see, how would it?
Let's reduce,
Yeah.
let's
How would
do,
they look at this?
let's do this for the dumb guys.
No.
Right?
hey,
Right, so next on the agenda is discussion and vote on the application for spring 2026 annual town meeting. You have had a chance to see all the information. The first one is the Hearst House in the historic category. So is there any discussion before I ask for a motion?
so those 3 projects in total are $723,702. We have 668, 148 in reserve. So that means if we vote those 3 projects tonight in full, then we have to go and take some out of our general.
Yes,
yeah,
like Linda mentioned earlier.
We received that letter talking about some of the issues we had with the Hearst House. And I'm not sure that I'm personally satisfied that there's a clear roadmap to what's gonna be done with that building. If we spend all that money to renovate it both inside and out. I'm also concerned that the plans, in my opinion, are a little bit vague. It has to go before historic, and that they could come back and say, for example, we saw in the letter that we should have the fence, just to deter all this. We wanna put cameras up on it. And all these other things. And they may come back and say, well, you have to put this fence in, because that one's too modern looking, or whatever the issues are. And that project is gonna come back and end up costing more money. And so where does that money come from? I mean, we've faced that with other projects. So as much as, and I've had somebody tell me that they didn't even know it was there, so. I didn't know it was there, but I've only lived here 4.5 years, so that's not surprising. I don't know where a lot of things are. So that's my concerns with spending that amount of money, almost $600,000 to renovate a building. And maybe we can renovate it to make it look presentable from the outside, and not worry about trying to use it for anything, not spending all that extra money to make it into something. You know, there was a lot of ifs of this or that, and so, and you know, the maintenance of it is a bigger town issue. It's not just this particular building. But that would be my concern about doing it as is. We heard last week about, you know, it's only gonna get more expensive. That's a valid point, but that's not the only reason you should spend money. So I'd like to see us use as much as our capital reserves to solve some of these other problems, as Tim has said. And so if we have to dip in that to pay for this, then that keeps us from going back. We may have something down the road that's historic that could use that 568,000. So I'm not gonna vote for it. It's clear, it's probably been clear I wasn't gonna vote for it in the beginning. But that's just my concern about it.
Thank you.
The difference of the three projects, just so you know, if you haven't done the math, is $55,554. And then the only thing I know that you used the fence as an example, and I know that it got brought up in the last meeting as well of whether it matched or not, but I read the application after our meeting. And it's an exact match to another fence at the top of the hill. So I don't think it would be a problem being accepted because it was. The one they chose is a direct match, at least it said in the application.
Yes, sir.
That's all I want to say.
Okay, so
Did you pass on speak?
I am right now, sir.
Oh, okay.
I put my hand up and you recognize me.
Right, I was just.
I have a couple of questions and a couple concerns. One is the estimate that was provided is very vague. I think that's already been discussed. It really needs to be clarified a little bit more. Is there gonna be an owner's rep that represents this project, or is it gonna be strictly controlled by the town as far as the contract is concerned and who's going to do the work? So it's a little bit vague. In the past, we've had projects not of how small this is, but to me, when you're spending $568,000, I'd like a little bit more clarification. And the plan that was submitted, it says it was done by AI, so it really can't be represented as an official plan. The other clarifications we were kind of looking for, what is exactly historic within the building, the components, and it is considered historic because it's in a historic property, if I'm understanding that correctly.
Yes,
Site
But-
is, yes.
Yeah, it's listed as a contributing
National.
structure
Mhm.
to the,
Right,
and
and
to the cemetery.
my other concerns were, and has been townwide and discussed many times at town meeting as far as the maintenance that's required on any town building being controlled by the town and with the school department. As far as maintenance is concerned. So why did this particular structure get to the level that it currently is in? From neglect, from not being able to repair it or having not be on the maintenance plan or for one reason or another. We've got to do a better job across the board as far as maintaining our buildings are concerned. So those are my concerns. I think maybe a little bit more information would be helpful for me, and I'm not sure this is the time to approve this without a little bit more information as far as I'm concerned.
I understand. Thank you for the comments. Bill, did you,
This project would have to go out to bid, so we don't know who's going to be the contractor yet, just.
Some of the projects has always been suggested also, maybe the building
Well,
department
you
should
spoke
be a
first.
little bit more involved.
I thought you had,
Sorry.
that's fine.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry, Billy. I'm sorry.
No, you were finishing up and I was talking.
Yeah, that's fine.
No, what you were saying, I missed it, I wanted to hear it. What did you say?
The whole thing?
No, the last sentence.
please don't.
The last thing you said,
Thank you.
the last thing you said.
It had to do with maintenance and
Okay.
control of the building.
I just,
I heard it.
said
I
it had to
heard
go
it. I
out to
thought I
bid.
didn't hear it.
yeah.
Oh, no,
That's-
I was just saying that, obviously, the preventative maintenance plan is important. The adaptive reuse is important in terms of justifying the expense itself. I think that this building should go back to work, taking care of the cemetery, and we should think of ways of doing that. I think we should focus on adaptive reuse on something that town meeting can get its hand around, that we're investing in a building that's gonna pay, take care of the cemetery in a manner which will be cost efficient. I think it has the ability to act as interpretive visitors, doing working archaeology activity. It's got a lot of things going for it. I think it's important that we do something there, but I feel like this application might be a little bit too soon. I think what Len said about, you know, we understand that there's inflation and it's not a justification for spending the money. I feel like this application might be too soon for town meeting. I think that the cemetery is our most important historical resource in the town of Plymouth because it's the only objects we can go and touch and look at that are literally close to 400 years old. Everything else in this town has gone in the dumpster, or it's a replica. So we should be very cautious about our cemetery and really think about how we're going to take care of it. We have an Article 16G from 2016 that was meant for phase 3, and it was I was involved in that application in previous 2 phases of the cemetery, and it was all about going after those headstones. Let's get the historical objects restored and protected. That's the paramount thing up there. Get the stones restored, get them preserved, because those are the only things up there that we can point to that are 400 years old. And then from there, based on what monies we have, then we go from there and start doing the other things, the paths in the hearse house. By the way, that article does leave money, $166,000 to repoint that staircase and get those trees out there that are damaging the roofs, that are damaging the walls, that making it even worse, making it more inviting to go and visit. So there's things that we should be doing right now, like Article 16G, we should be going after from 2016 to get that out to bid, and see if we can get those walls and those stones repaired. Before we start going after another one, there's unspent money up at the cemetery that we should get off our books before we start spending more money. And you know, we only have so much historical money, and something else might come in. But more importantly, if we are going to do the hearse house, and I support doing something with the hearse house, I just think that we have to do a little bit more due diligence around this project. And I couldn't support it for now. I would just leave the table for a future town meeting after gathering more information.
Understand, thank you. Anyone else? Yes, good.
I gotta say that I absolutely agree with what everyone here said. I mean, the headstone restorations and all that, that's a different subject altogether, and 100%, you know, would support that. That's definitely historic and something everyone in this town wants to see. The numbers for this are just, I don't think there's anyone sitting here at the table that could imagine spending a 20 by 20 building over $500,000. And not even talking about rebuilding it. This is just putting lipstick on. I would definitely support putting a little lipstick on it, that people that come to Burial Hill, the fence, painting it, and, you know, look decent from the outside. But I would never even consider spending my own money in these numbers. Like, this is not, I wouldn't consider spending the taxpayers' money. I just think it's really extravagant. And on top of that, when you owe $12 million, you're spending that kind of money. Is another, you know, if you didn't owe any money and you're saying, well, I have this money and I want to make things look nice, but we're borrowing to do it. We just paid, I believe, $300,000 last year in debt. I think we're estimated to pay $600,000 next year in debt. To me, that's insane. That's fine. That's fine.
So just for clarification, you wouldn't need to borrow to do it.
Well, we borrowed somewhere else. Yeah. We borrowed the, you know, this money from over here to over there. We're still borrowing. We could pay down, if we didn't borrow money, we could pay down $568,000 in debt.
You can outright.
Well, you can't use historic reserves to pay down your debt.
No,
But we're gonna use historic money for other things.
But you can only use it for historic projects.
Right.
Actually, if historic had $600,000 in debt, yes, you could use the 568, but it's strictly for historic.
Right. Mhm.
Well, one is that for the, doing the digital, if we approve that.
Yep, you can use it for
The
that.
other thing.
Yep.
that we-
Yeah.
The other project.
So you have 668.
In the 70% category, you could use the funding. to
So- so-
Yeah.
It's important to know what you're saying is if we did all of it, we would be borrowing. But we're not.
Well,
borrowing. Yeah, you understand for the individual application, like, we wouldn't borrow, but if we did all three, we would borrow, we would encroach on our buying down power.
That's right. We close it up
Encroach
free
by
cash.
55,000.
Right, but you wouldn't need to borrow because you have available
Well,
funds.
We could choose to borrow if we wanted to.
In this case, if we
Yeah, I
could
wouldn't
use the whole
recommend-
568,
Mine's
still buying down, only historic. Whatever's left in the historic budget for buy down.
And then,
Yes,
so what we talked about at the end of the last meeting, I'm 100% in favor of this, but I don't know if the cart's before the horse right now. We talked about process wise. Should they be going out to bid first, get a contractor and have actual architectural plans and detailed drawings? You're gonna find out about the actual process, how it works.
You can't go.
They won't have money.
without the money.
They need money.
They need money to do that.
But
You can get a independent cost estimator to look at it.
yes.
Because I was
You'll
looking
have to
at
have
Ray
some
Dunn's, the landscapers estimates,
think
and they
that's
weren't
what
really
you-
based on independent cost estimates by professionals telling us what it might cost. So
Right.
that's just another thing where we can work with the applicant to develop that.
Like we're doing Memorial Hall, right? We're getting.
Yeah, we-
So
Yes.
maybe that's an article that should come first, is whatever, what was that, 80,000 in Memorial Hall,
90.
90? I mean,
Yeah,
this shouldn't be more.
we planned for 90, just in case it went over.
I mean, this should be less than half of that, I would think, for building this
You
small.
wouldn't have to get a historical studies structures report for this small building. I would think that what research has been gone into, that you could hand it over to independent cost estimates that could give you more realistic numbers based on what's being asked to be done with the building. I don't wanna start getting into a point where we spend actually even more money. It's obviously the building is what it is. Ray has provided us some information, and we
Right.
can build on that definitely by getting the estimates very cost efficiently by calling them up and contracting them for a couple of $1,000s to give us those numbers. Rather than go and getting a major report like they're talking about at Memorial Hall. More elaborate.
So there is there could be another process to refine these numbers and get them better, but no, it wouldn't, until they had money, they couldn't go out to bid. And they wouldn't be hiring an architect. They would probably go, I don't know, if it would go to design.
If the cost of design is more than $30,000, and the construction is greater than 300,000, you would need to go through the owner's project manager, designer selection process.
Which this is 568.
Well, the construction is, but I don't know if the design services is more than
The
30,000.
design services were not in the estimate, were they?
No.
Right.
How did the Ray Dunsky report get done? The Ray Dunsky report, that was,
done.
how much did that cost?
It was,
The what?
well, we took the report that was done in 2013, I believe?
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry, 2020, and he just revamped the numbers, so it was only $2,000. The Secretary does not have the money to have another report done, this was done professionally
Mhm.
by an architecture, I don't know what else. And as far as what other information you need, I can't think of what else it could possibly be. The cost of this building is what it is. I mean, I've talked to my boss extensively about what we will do if it doesn't get fixed. Tomorrow, we're boarding out the remaining windows that are open. From the standpoint of a Plymouth resident, I find it ironic that money to preserve a historic piece of property in a national recognized cemetery is just like, I mean, I've watched all of the CPA
But
projects.
you gotta look at the amount,
I'm sorry.
but you gotta look at the amount of money. We're talking over $500,000 for a 20 by 20.
Yeah.
That's a
But
shed.
It's what it is.
No, it's not.
But it is.
No, it's not.
No, it shouldn't be a back and forth like
I
this.
just wanted to,
Excuse me, I'm to say that I find this board to
okay,
extremely difficult to work with. In my 20 years with the division, I have never felt more insecure coming to a meeting in my life. So I reported that to my boss and to the town manager. And I'm not gonna have anything else to say about the project. So if you need anything else, feel free to call my boss, Lenny Boyle, and I'll let him know how we do with this tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
You. At this point in time, I'd be looking for a motion either to recommend or not recommend the application for the Hearst House historic renovation. For historic preservation purposes, in the amount of $568,172 to spring 2026 town meeting article. Is there-
I make a motion not to recommend it.
Should that be, are they?
I would make a motion to
In the affirmative.
recommend it and then vote against it.
Okay, thank you. So I'll modify my motion. I make a motion to recommend it.
Motion by Levin to recommend the application for the Hearst House for historic preservation purposes in the amount of $568,172 for spring 2026 town meeting article. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mike Dugan. And Len, would you call the roll?
Paul,
No.
Tim,
No,
myself, no. Bill,
Vote to table it. No.
Michael,
I'm gonna ceremoniously, as the historic representative, say yes.
okay, and Ed.
No.
The vote was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 no's and 1 yes.
Okay, the next article is the Plymouth Library digitization. Also historic category, and the ask is $70,530. And that's that presentation number to digitize all the Old Colony Memorial newspaper articles going back to, I forget the year, but whenever they started printing. Kind of goes along with the digitizing of all the old town records that we did a few years ago, last year.
I have a question about that. So originally the ask was for 60 something.
Yes,
Then last meeting, we increased it to 70.
yes.
So does that mean we have an article that has no contingency?
No, you increased it to
You
seven.
haven't voted anything yet.
No, I understand that, but I thought the original article was 60 with 10% and, or some contingency that would have taken it to 70. We've now changed the article to 70. So
No, there was no contingency on the first one. It was recommended by this committee.
okay, maybe
To
I'm,
add in 10%, just in case it came higher than it did. There would be some money and some funds to be able to finish it, not walk away from it and have to come back.
Right.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
so our vote could be not to exceed 70,500.
Well, it won't exceed that if that's the number you use.
Well, the vote we say is not to exceed $70,530.
Yeah, you just,
So it can't be more than that, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, they have to, just making sure if they went over, they'd have to come back,
yeah, they would.
right.
right?
Yeah. That's the,
or we
Or
give,
find their own money.
or we give them a contingency.
no.
No,
It's in
the
there.
10,000's already
The
been added.
70 is
as part
in
of
there.
Contingency.
Okay,
In there.
so we can't go back and give them another 10.
I wouldn't want to, because it
No,
was 60
okay.
originally and we added another 10.
Okay.
No, it's a good idea to do that because,
Yeah.
obviously, if it does exceed, and they want to come back and ask for a second application,
Yes, yeah.
they can. But it's important to note that, yes, we're only giving 70, but theoretically, things could happen, and it's good to verbally note it with whoever's in charge at the town meeting implementing it, that we're not going beyond 70.
And her pricing, when she came to us, was 60,000.
Yes.
So, or the committee, I think it was a good recommendation, committee to
Put that buffer in.
Yeah. Any other discussion on that or questions? If not, do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Okay, Mike Dugan, to recommend the application for the Old Colony Memorial Digitization Project for the historic preservation purposes in the amount of $70,530 using historic reserve funds to the spring 2026 town meeting article. Do I have a second
Second,
by Tim?
What we
And
got?
ready for a vote?
Bill,
Yes.
myself, yes, Tim,
yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
and Michael.
Yeah.
And the last one in this category is the townwide historic plan, also a historic category, and the ask is $85,000. Any discussion on?
No.
No, then
To vote against it?
Do I have a motion to recommend the application for the historic preservation plan project for the historic preservation purposes in the amount of $85,000 using the historic reserve
I
fund?
so move.
So moved by Len. Do I have a second?
Oh, second, we have a discussion on the motion?
All second?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Paul?
Yeah, do you really need to be heard? That's
Discussion.
what I thought.
Yes, for discussion.
Oh,
But
No, he
I
doesn't. He
think he's
changed his
okay
mind.
now.
He changed his
I
mind.
think he's okay
He's
now.
okay now. Fine. He checked his pulse. He's good.
okay. Go, back to vote.
So I had Paul, yes, Tim,
Yes.
myself, yes, Bill,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
and Ed.
Yes.
Okay. Moving right along.
That's on the agenda, is the vote for the operating budget, FY 27. This will answer the rest of the questions I think we had.
So what I would recommend is we're gonna take some of these votes as the percentages, because the amounts that are recommended here are based on an estimated budget from the town manager for 2027, which still has to go to select board, then it still has to go to advisory and finance and town meeting. So the motion, the number for the motions might be slightly different, because the number may either go up or down. So we'll recommend like a sum of money, meaning like the 4% for the budget, 10% for a set aside, you know, that kind of thing, okay? So our recommendation from the finance department is to do the 4% administrative budget, which would be a sum of money to pay for the annual, you know, administrative budget. What I would also ask, at the meeting that I attended a couple of meetings ago, I asked for the board to vote, to confirm that allocation of the salary of the admin support to be at 75% to come from CPC. If you could include that in your vote.
In the recommendation.
Yeah, in the recommendation. I don't know if you want to do each one separately, because we could vote that one and get it out of the way.
Sure.
Why don't we do that?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay. Those
The first-
short of
The amount?
Shoot it.
Oh,
Well, it would be 4% of the
that's right, too.
annual estimated revenues, which right now is estimated 166,141.
It's 75%.
Yes.
Salary, yeah.
Administrative budget, so I'll be looking for a motion to fund the 4% administrative budget in a second. And include the language that the CPC is covering 75% of the administrative assistance salary. Salary and benefits or just salary?
Just
I'll
that.
second.
Salary.
Who moved? Oh, okay,
I second.
And second by Paul.
okay,
Who moved it?
Michael.
Mike, okay. Mike. So motion by Mike Tubin to fund 4% administrative budget and seconded by Paul. And ready for the roll call.
I vote yes, Tim,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
and Michael.
Yes.
Did you say yes?
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. The next vote is the debt service budget, which I am recommending an amount of 558,834. And that is based on the current borrowing that we're doing right now and what we estimate have to borrow by year's end to incur any interest next year. If it ends up that number changes at all, it could get reduced because we may not have to borrow. We can always adjust it at the fall town meeting.
Okay.
And that would go back into your funds and you can use it, you know, for something else at that time. But that is my estimate.
What would that number be again?
558,834.
So like,
Interest?
It's short-term interest for,
what we have outstanding now And what do you think we will borrow in 27? What is the estimate of what we're gonna
I don't
have?
know what we're paying in debt service.
No, I know that, but it's.
So basically it's on this sheet.
Okay,
So whatever projects that we're going to be doing, we'll be incurring something.
How much are we reserve keeping?
When you say reserve, what do you mean by that?
How much are we keeping that we're not spending?
So that we haven't gotten to that yet.
Okay,
This amount that we're gonna vote is gonna
Debt.
come out of the estimated annual reserves, and then you're gonna have some money left to be able to use to pay down debt, or you can reserve it. You can do whatever you want. You know what I mean?
so we don't
We
know,
just haven't gotten there yet.
that interest amount is based on how much additional borrowing for 27?
It's based on the current projects right now and what we are estimated to have to borrow before June 30th of next year. Because once we borrow it, then we will incur a short-term interest payment on that amount next year.
Right, and
In
how,
this-
and how much do we think that's gonna be, the short-term borrowing for next year?
550.
Well, the 558 is 5% of the amount. So,
Okay, sure.
which is 300 grand.
and 5% is a very conservative number. The interest rates, as you know, can go up and down. I mean, they're gonna go down again maybe, so hopefully.
Obviously, based
So
on
we may
the
end
bond
up-
rate.
We
everything
may
else.
end up have money, that we don't need, but just for right now, that would be the amount that I recommend.
Okay, do I have a motion for anyone to pay the debt service amount of $558,834?
I move.
Glenn moves, do I have a second? Hey, Mike? Okay, and vote?
Ed,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Tim,
Cause I have to, yes.
myself, yes. Bill
Yes.
and Michael.
I guess Ed doesn't, I guess Tim doesn't want to, but I guess I will too.
Hey,
It's pay down of existing.
yeah, so couple of things that we can talk about. So one is because of your goal of paying down this debt, I would recommend that your required 10% set aside for open space and your required 10% set aside for housing.
Where are you right now, Bill? And I just wanted to follow you.
I'm on this sheet.
This one?
Yeah, so it's,
There's pay down debt on the third column highlighted in
I'm
yellow.
following you now.
yeah, okay. So I would recommend, because you can use those set asides, because you have to either spend or set aside for those purposes, and you can use that to pay down the debt for those purposes. So that would be what I would recommend, so that at least you've done some for open space, you've done some for housing. So the open space one, we would recommend that we're gonna pay down on the Jenny Pond debt. And then the housing one, we would recommend that the 10% be used to do the coalition for the homeless. And again, the motion would be to use the 10% set aside, or the 10% for open space, 10% for housing, to pay down those two debts.
Yeah.
Because the amount may change when we go to do the motion.
Yeah. So I actually put the numbers in though, and the 10%, is that good, or would you prefer just the 10% instead?
Yeah, you know what? It's actually gonna be a little bit, because we're actually recommending on the housing one.
Yeah.
Cause we have a reserve right now of $74,008. So we're recommending to use that plus the 10% towards
To get the
the housing debt,
So-
yeah.
should
So
use the-
using the annual 10% and the reserves.
And the reserves, yes, yep,
Already know. So we're good
exactly,
with that?
yep, yeah,
I didn't know if, yeah.
yeah, 10% and the
And the
reserve.
reserves, there's.
So that number might change, but the total might change, you
Yeah.
know what I mean, but, yeah.
Question, so. Well, a buy down total is 901,972. Right,
Yep,
is that gonna be applied, so if I
Just,
we buy that down, is that lower the $12 million number down to 11?
yeah, yes.
Yes, correct.
Yep,
Yes.
So everybody knows.
yep,
And it'll lower the interest payment down.
yep.
It should lower the interest payment down too. That's our goal. So
Mhm.
these buy downs to me are very important. If you're lowering this number down to 11 and change.
Yeah.
And pay less interest, we'll just authorize debt over a certain amount. Next year, that debt should be less
Okay.
with what we're doing.
Well,
So can I recommend, what the motions should be for these two?
So I
Yes,
have it.
And then, oh, I'm sorry.
So you're proposing the 415 of open space, the 489, excuse me, 489 for the homeless.
yeah,
to
Yes.
Buying down.
Yes,
What other money is being contributed to buying down?
well, we haven't gotten there yet.
Okay, that's what I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Pay more, we're only at this
We're-
right now.
Yep.
Continue now,
Yeah.
my question's been answered, go ahead,
Yeah.
continue, I'm
Okay,
sorry, go on.
okay. So those are two.
so I gave Ed those two motions, which I
Yeah,
think are.
so I think maybe
We should
if we
make
could,
those
if we could do
first.
these one at a time, yeah,
As they're broken down here.
yeah, and then if we are gonna pay down more on like the homeless shelter, we can, for town meeting, combine it all into one article.
Right.
Instead of,
These
you
two
know,
first.
but we'll do these two first. So the first one would be, the motion would be to use the 10% for open space recreation to pay down the Jenny Pond debt.
The full 10%.
Yes,
Yes,
Motion made.
Motion made by Tim
Seconded,
and seconded by, excuse me,
Bill.
Bill. And that's to submit an article at the spring time meeting to pay down the loan for Jenny Farm open space recreation using the 10% annual open space and recreation obligation.
Hmm.
Ready for a vote?
All right, Michael,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
myself, yes, Tim,
Yes,
Paul,
Yes.
and Ed,
Yes.
okay?
okay.
Now,
The next one would be a recommendation to use the 10% set aside for housing plus the existing housing reserves of $74,008 to pay down the Plymouth Area Coalition for the Homeless housing project.
motion made.
Seconded,
Please.
made by Tim and seconded by Bill.
Let's move this along,
That
right?
beer's getting warm. Beer's getting, oh, sorry.
so.
Getting
Bill,
off stuff is good.
Yes.
yes, myself, yes, Tim,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
and Michael,
Yes.
okay?
That's the good stuff, paying down.
yeah, so
Hey,
that was,
get that.
for the record, $904,710.
Keep going.
$904,710.
10 or 11, yeah.
So
there's that.
deduct that from the 12 million,
$50,000 in interest next year.
It'd be, yeah, so you can, yeah, I know, because I have rounding, probably
Keep
rounding.
going.
It's fine.
Yeah, let's go from what we
Okay,
had
so
left.
the next thing we're gonna talk about is, in this, report right here, this one.
Yep.
Okay, the remaining estimated annual revenues based on the estimated, real estate tax levy for next year would be approximately $2,182,000. So that's what you have that would be the amount remaining for the entire fiscal year 27.
Mm.
So if you use it all to pay down debt, then the only thing you would have left for fiscal 27 would be the undesignated, which is down below the 775. And obviously what remains in your historic resource reserve.
So if I may.
Yeah.
Question for the
Yes.
chair.
Bill,
So the combined amount is 3,626,000, correct?
Well, that includes the historic
Well, all
reserve.
right, so
And we just,
we'll stay with the 2,182,000 in the reserves, right?
yeah,
So we're estimating we're probably gonna need to spend about 450,000 in interest out of that 2.1.
no. The interest we've already taken care of.
So I've taken care of your number here.
The interest is up here, so this is totally separate. The two-
I understand. I'm just thinking the year after, you're gonna be paying interest who's utilizing this money, right? It's 2-1.
Well,
This is the remaining balance at the end of fiscal year 26 or 25.
This 2 million is estimated revenues that's going to be collected in fiscal 27.
Right,
For your-
that's what we have for.
And you're voting,
Or in 2025, 2026.
but you're voting for fiscal
I
27.
fully understand.
Okay,
So what do you think our interest is gonna be, have to be paid? How much in 27?
Will be
How much
28.
amount, which would be 28,
28.
correct?
well,
All depends on how much.
it
you borrow.
all depends on.
And how we do everything with the buy downs, I
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah, I mean, I
Hard to predict that.
couldn't estimate that tonight.
So we could utilize an amount of this to pay down more
Mhm.
without affecting the future, so to speak.
Except that you might wanna wait till the fall to do that, to see if you have any spring applications for the fall, because that.
Right, so if we only use, say, 40% of this or 30% or whatever the.
Whatever we used to borrow this year to pay for projects that are going on this year, that's
Right,
gonna
so
happen
what
no
would you
matter what.
suggest as the advisory and finance committee and representative of the town? How much more can we use? How much of this we can use to buy down this year?
Well, I think,
Wait a minute.
Yeah,
didn't you have, Paul had an idea, you wanted 50% of it?
Oh, wait a minute, I thought it was really, really nice we went forward with letting projects and said that
Right.
every project we approve, 50% of that money goes straight towards the debt.
We have to use the 50% of our other cash.
And I think any taxpayer would look at that and go, you know what, you guys are doing the right thing, you're going the right way. And any project going forward, we're gonna put $200,000 here, we're gonna put 200,000 towards the debt. I think taxpayers would be happy with that,
Yes.
that's just my opinion.
I just want to go back to Tim's conversation because he confused me. Sorry, Tim.
no problem.
Well, that's up 25, 26, 27.
So 27, we just voted the debt service for 27 to be about $560,000.
That's correct. That's
Okay.
based on what we,
Right, I understand. So where does that money come from? What part of money does that come out of the 2.1 million?
no, so this 4,153,000, the total of all these numbers in this column.
Okay,
That is the total of your estimated annual revenues
okay.
for the fiscal 27,
Oh, okay,
everything that you
okay.
do. It includes a surcharge, it includes a state match, it includes interest, everything.
You already taken.
Right,
So the
so when I got that question, you answered it by saying that all that was already considered in that number.
Yes.
Right,
That answered my question.
Okay.
That's where I was kind of.
Yeah.
Now I understand. And then we basically, out of that 4.1 million, we took out, we have the reserves, which total 1.2 million. And then we had the 166 in the debt service. And that takes us down to the 2.1 million. And so what you're asking us, how much of that 2.1 million do we want to use and how we want to use it?
But
right. The only thing before you that you have is to pay down debt. You don't have any other projects right now.
We're paying down debt. So the question there is that 2 million, then $2,182,485, is also added to the 775,
Right.
which is our undesignated. So it brings you to about, 3,626,000. But if you take away your 668,148 historical, you come down to $2,957,947,000, so that you could use with to
Right.
do what Paul is saying, but even more than that. Because I think that should be a standing policy to deal with debt that you just recommended, but at the same time, I think we might want to show town meeting that we're really taking on this aggressively, because this is a number we've never had before us before in such a short amount of time. So anything we can say to town meeting to be aggressively to get that number down will be a good thing. I traditionally like to keep a little money in the bank, but right now I think that money should be paying off this borrowing in this.
We could get the millions.
'Cause I don't know what-
Promise down to single digits would be very, very, very good.
It would be very good to get into
Not-
that world, look how aggressive we're getting, we did this a couple of times in the past, but.
Yeah, so
We're
I,
falling into economically questionable times too,
Yeah.
and right now we're experiencing a real estate market that we haven't seen for some time, and the numbers are dropping significantly, we can't really see where these numbers are gonna go for future income for the CPC, because we're gonna see it drop again. And then meanwhile, grants aren't coming in from the federal government, where we were making it up for many years, if you could see, David Gould and all these different departments were coming at us with grants. Those grants are drying up, so with grants drying up and the economy changing, we should knuckle down and just focus on that debt.
Well, the
So
resident,
between those two numbers, you have $2.9 million.
Yes, that's right,
Okay.
$2,957,947.
So, and that would be for fiscal 27. So if you had people come in with applications in the spring, we're just gonna give you this information. You guys can decide what you want.
That's why you're here.
You know?
yeah, I understand. People might come in with projects and you're not gonna be able to afford them, so we make the decisions, well, as we go.
But
Per the presentation, you want funding left over if you can actually afford to pay for that. So if I may, we got $2.9 million we're trying to get down right now. With your pay down that was suggesting and voted upon already, we're at 10,274,000, correct?
Yep,
And we have 2.9 available if we would like to buy anything down. We've heard suggestions that we should be buying down what we already approved as we go forward. So we just approved how much tonight?
150,000.
Only 150,000, right?
So can I ask a question?
I think you're talking the two historic.
What do you recommend?
Yes.
What do you recommend we do?
That's what I asked.
Well, I
I
have
was getting to
something to
that.
say 50%.
I understand, but besides that, if we had, I understand that's a.
I wasn't quite done.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ken, my apologies.
All right, so what we bought down already, we're gonna say $50,000 in interest. So if we do the same amount, somewhere around 800,000 or 900,000, we'll save another
I mean. you could
50,
do
another 50,000 in interest.
2.1.
So we could go 50% of the 29.
Yeah.
And buy something down here, is my suggestion. Now, go ahead.
All right, thank you. So
And
your
the-
suggestion,
my suggestion is, if you could just hear me out.
yeah, that's why you're here.
So, to be quite honest with you, no matter what I borrow, because we're already done for fiscal 26. I have no available monies right now to reduce any of the borrowings except what we've already done, okay? You could decide tonight to just hold the 2.1 in the budgeted reserve, and we could pay down in the fall, because the next time we have to go to borrow is April of 2027. So right now, I already know what I have to borrow for April of 26. That number is, I have no available money right now to change what that number is gonna be. Okay, so the interest that we're talking about for next year is gonna pay for that debt that I have to borrow.
It's already guaranteed you're paying this no matter what.
Yes.
It's not a
So what
30-day
I'm-
note.
So what I'm, no, it's a year, it's
Right.
12 months, okay?
12-month note.
So what I would suggest, and we can do, I mean, we can, well, I really can't do that because we don't know until town meeting votes it in the fall. Because you can do a 6-month note, you could do a, 10-month note, you could do a shorter one, but we do 12.
That's fine.
Because the timing of town meetings just gets us past whatever. So I mean, you could hold it in abeyance and you can see what comes in the spring, and then you can decide with all of your applications, if you get any over the summer, what you want to pay down. So it's not like it's going anywhere, and you have to decide tonight.
In other words, if we say, let's go take $1 million and pay off some of our debt, it's not gonna reduce the interest.
It's not gonna happen this year because this money is estimated revenues for next
Oh,
year.
I see. Okay.
It's not available. I don't have it.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's July.
So it
Yeah.
won't come till July
That happened
1.
next year.
yeah.
That was your league, is what if something major comes up, like a really important open space purchase or something in the spring? I think we should leave ourselves.
That's how you got $12 million in debt.
That's how you get it.
That's right.
I just think that.
It's totally
I
up to you
under- I
guys.
under- Yeah.
The other things we gotta take in consideration here, I would agree with the 50. I agree with what you're saying, because it's not gonna affect the interest that's already been determined to be paid. So if we leave the 2.1 in place, or the 2.9, whatever the number is, it's not gonna affect anything. And then in the fall, before fall town meeting, we can buy down to affect the future interest that
Affect
we're
what,
gonna be
right,
paying.
to affect.
So
what
my
we're gonna
next
borrow.
question is, this 2.1 in reserve is collecting interest.
Yeah,
correct?
not yet. It'll start collecting. So when we start sending out tax bills next fiscal year, the first bill is due August 1st. So when it goes in the bank, that's when we start collecting interest.
Right.
And then November 1st, we start collecting interest.
I
And then
understand, but for
February
all,
1st.
all intents and purposes, the 2.1 will gain interest if we don't use it eventually.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
In some way, shape or form, right?
so I think we can't designate money that we don't have. We don't have that money yet, you know, it's not in my pocket, I can't spend it.
Well, you can, so we
So
do
you're
it all the
saying
time.
I'm
That's
sorry.
how we
We're
do
gonna
our,
give you a loan.
that's how we do our regular annual operating budget.
Okay,
We're
Oh.
estimating what we're gonna take in next year, and we're gonna start our budget July 1st, and we're gonna start
so we
spending
could
it.
today
So you,
designate.
you can decide tonight if you wanna use some of that money to pay down debt. It's just, it's not gonna happen until next year.
Anyway.
I understand it's not gonna happen till next year, but what we're really doing is reducing the borrowing authorization that
Yeah.
town meeting gave us. We're going back to town meeting and telling them aggressively, we're gonna
Right.
take this number
We wanna
down.
reduce
I
it.
think, I know other projects might come in, but I'm saying, you know, I think that we need to hold our feet to the fire and address that number and get it down aggressively. I agree with where you're going, and I understand what you're talking about, and I see this policy that Paul's talking about the 50%, but I wanna get a lot more aggressive. I think we should be looking at least $2 million.
Right there, 100.
Paying it down.
On top of the 1 million that you
Yes,
just did.
well, on top of the $904,711, that I'm looking at $2,957,947, at least 2 million of that should go down to looking at paying down our
You
bond.
making a motion?
I'm all for
I'm
that.
making a motion.
I thought.
Yeah, you, hypothetical function. If
All right, let's get a
we
let's get a-
decided to take.
The motion here,
let's get a second, then we can discuss.
usually ask for a second and then
Here's the
discussion.
question, if we decide to take all of that,
We have to do the
Money.
second, then this.
Yeah, I would not recommend that.
but if they did and paid it up, and something came in the fall, but they're really.
You wouldn't be able to do
You
anything.
wouldn't be able to do it.
Okay.
You'd have to borrow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it can still be done, you just have to follow the
Yeah.
money.
Once you're,
Yeah.
once you.
So it doesn't
No, we
mean
can go that side.
if something came in.
I'm gonna go and go half, not all.
Oh,
The
okay.
CPC didn't exist in 2020, you'd probably know the numbers. So this money wasn't even, what's that?
In 2003 it started.
2003, it didn't exist, so, I mean, it's not the end of the world,
No.
if we took all this money and.
Right,
paid down
100%.
debt.
The only thing because it's estimated revenues, I mean, like, you know, the sky might fall. I mean, I wouldn't want to use all of it.
Yeah, but this guy doesn't follow the CPC.
No, so what I'm saying is maybe,
That's the problem.
maybe leave your designated fund balance, the undesignated fund balance, leave that, don't use that to pay down debt, but if you want to use this 2.1 towards the debt, I mean, that's fine.
I made a motion,
Alright.
I think it's been seconded, we're in discussion of motion, I'm making the
What was the
recommendation. that we
motion?
use the 2
What was
million.
the amount?
oh, you need the motion.
The motion was.
To use the entirety of
No,
2182.
no, you have 2 million, you have $2,957,000,
Right.
$947. I'm recommending that you take $2 million of that and pay down debt at
2 million.
Springtime.
And it was seconded by who?
Me, I'm down third.
So the motion.
Hey, we have a motion to use $2 million of that
Estimated revenues.
fund.
So in the end, yeah, but so in the end, we'll be walking around town meeting saying that we have
We're under 10.
3,400,000 and. 403 million.
Gotta put the debt at 8.2, right?
Paid it down by 20,
Yeah, I
over
think it
20%.
goes to
Yeah.
tax.
$2 million would be 8.2 is correct.
And that's
Would
over,
that be-
that's over $120,000 a
So,
year.
yes, so I'm marking it up here,
Oh,
so
okay.
if you want.
Okay.
Yes,
So we got that.
I
So it's
think
gonna be
so.
a Motion by.
by Bill, yeah.
So we get discussion now,
To
right?
pay $2 million.
Yeah.
Submit for an article for the Springtown meeting for estimated revenue. Estimated revenue for the PAC, Plymouth Area Coalition account.
We'll do
For
it towards
fall
PAC,
town
because that one is
Gonna
gonna be fully.
For the.
That's
for
still.
allow- for the allowable
1,000.
purchase of affordable.
Let me read it to you again, Bill, just to make sure it's. Okay. I believe.
Mhm.
The motion is by Bill. To submit an article to Springtown meeting. To
$2 million.
Reduce the
put
borrowing.
$2 million of estimated revenue.
The Plymouth Area Coalition.
but yeah, for the Plymouth Area Coalition
Homes,
for the homeless.
fall town meeting. 2027,
2027.
an affordable housing article.
Oh, it doesn't have to be fall. That
Take
doesn't,
that off, okay,
yeah, that,
You gonna say fall?
yeah,
Right.
you don't need that in there. You only need that in there for the budgeted reserve, whatever's remaining.
Okay.
So you're using 2 million of the 2.1.
Mhm.
So whatever's remaining will go into this budgeted reserve, which will be there for the fall.
that's, and that second, that's what, okay. Everybody understand? Are we ready to vote?
What any discussion on that?
You were the second, right?
Huh?
Yeah, but he might want to you might
No, I
want to
don't
discuss
think-
it,
I'm just saying, normally
But
after
Paul
you
was
take
the
a vote, you do
discuss
After
it.
the-
discussion,
second.
and if there's no discussion, then you call the
You have
vote.
something you wanna discuss?
I don't.
Oh,
I don't know if
okay.
Anybody else did?
Jim? So
I do have something to bring up.
I'm happy to pay
Do
down
we
debt.
think that 900,000 remaining is enough when people come in to make any type of presentations looking for funds from the CPC? How much did we approve last year in smaller amounts?
Yeah.
Was it 2 million? Was it 1.5?
I could look at my book.
Have you been approached by anything? Is there anything on the horizon?
That's that's a good
There are
question
some
also.
things out there.
And what were the
Can you
amounts?
tell us or no?
Why not?
No, because they involve purchases and sales and have not been completed yet.
All right, well, I only asked for my own information.
Right. They're open space.
We're gonna have
Well,
a
based on
million,
what-
All open space.
we're gonna have $1 million that we can
I understand.
distribute.
Yeah.
Based on what you know, that's a sufficient amount.
We're
Because
going-
all right, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna support it.
No, not for, not for everyone.
Information we don't have, that's not.
Yeah, I can't bring it into the realm.
We'll be going into fall town meeting with $1 million, 900.
Right,
And we'll close the books and, you know,
So we're not going in naked.
the
right.
undesignated
And I
will
think
get
the town meeting
updated.
members and the residents will appreciate.
And if something
Okay.
is
Yeah.
very attractive, even if we didn't have any money left, we could still do it in fall market.
Yeah, we'll have
So it's not like we're totally shutting it off. It might make us think a little bit more about it, right, Paul?
No, yeah, not.
No, he's saying no. Yeah, no, no,
Okay.
So, did you take a vote?
Yeah.
Yeah,
no. Yeah, we need a second.
First and a second, we got a second.
Mike
We had a
second.
discussion on the motion.
that's right. Now
All
we'll
right,
make the
hang
vote.
on. The motion was made by Bill, the second was by Paul.
Second,
Paul.
Mike, actually, but
Mike,
But,
Mike, sorry, that's what
I
I
gave a hearty second though.
yes.
Okay.
Hi.
You gave the second with the
I gave a
star,
follow-up second.
second with the star next to it. Okay, are we ready? Everybody know what we're voting on?
Any more discussion, questions, concerns?
All right, here we go. Myself, yes. Bill,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
and Ed.
Yes.
All right,
I think psychologically getting under 10 is gonna go a long way.
it does.
Get down to single
Wow.
$1 million numbers.
Yeah.
I wanna see,
So-
I wanna see a positive.
Yeah, we're not done yet.
Like 6 months ago.
We have two, well, we have one more.
Oh, yeah, we have one more.
which is this one?
So what we wanna do is, yeah, we wanna do sort of two things within one motion, cause we do it all in one article, basically, at town meeting was. We're gonna do the remaining reserve, the 182,000, whatever, we're gonna put it aside in that budgeted reserve. So again, whatever's remaining after the 10%, cause these numbers might change a little bit. We're gonna use 2 million for the debt, but whatever's left, we'll put in the budget reserve for the future for town meeting in the fall. The other thing that you need to do is you need to vote the set aside, the 10% set aside for historic resources. The 415,351.
So the first vote, I'll make the motion that we.
Actually, is that? in-
What when you say-
Only using. Is we're not, yeah.
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 It's this one here,
No, I know what it is. But you talk
You have
about.
to do,
415, 351.
yeah,
Yeah.
that third reserve there, the 415.
Reserve for.
It's, you're gonna do the 10%.
Yeah, 10% because the dollar will change. I
But
know some
historic-
members always
historic.
ask me that.
But
Reserve of historic resources.
The other two categories have been taken care of by
Yes.
earlier.
Cause we didn't use we didn't,
Right?
we didn't spend it on the Hearst house,
Right.
so now you have to set it aside.
Yeah,
Oh, we have to set it aside again.
You have to do the 10% set aside.
Okay,
And I'll make that motion.
second,
Bill has made a motion and Tim has seconded a motion for the housing reserve for historic resources.
And the rest,
10%.
and the rest of the budget reserve, we'll include that in there. In the motion.
And
The
the
rest
motion,
of,
and the rest,
the rest of the budgeted reserve.
In the it's in the.
Hundred and 82,
It's in the motion, 182.
so we're doing two things in this motion,
yeah.
okay? I'm just writing. Okay,
That's for the budgeted reserve. Yep.
okay, are there any questions or discussion on that? Seeing none, I'm going to take the vote.
Ed,
Yes,
Paul,
Yes.
myself, yes. I'm sorry, Tim, yes.
Yes,
I
yeah,
didn't mean to speak with Tim.
nope,
Myself, yes. Bill
Yes.
and Michael.
is that a yes, Tim?
Unanimous.
It was, right?
Yeah. That.
We gotta have debt down to zero, we have a big party.
I'm buying.
Yeah, we'll
We're
borrow,
all still alive.
we'll borrow for it.
all right, the next on the agenda is Christian's update,
Oh, boy.
CPC coordinator.
Oh, invoices first.
So for invoices, we have LDS Consulting, a billing for $518 for consulting for Cranberry Commons, grant agreement. And the PA Landers wholesale June building, which got missed for $4,500.10, which was for sand and gravel. Bill. Both of those have.
Digging up sand and we're buying sand.
You need a motion for those? Or-
No.
No, it's just.
It's an
no,
acknowledgement that they've all paid,
Yeah.
yeah.
What'd you say, this is all in the budget that we already have, right?
Yes,
Like this,
yes, yep.
it's kind of just an
Just showing how.
accounts payable report.
I guess next is the liaison.
Liaison updates, Coalition for the Homeless Victim.
Yes, so they have a,
Need to vote the bill?
No, no.
Just double checking.
the Coalition for the Homeless, was in the meeting yesterday. They have very minor punch list things and a couple of documents to submit, and I anticipate them getting their, certificate of occupancy by next Wednesday, which will then release our final payment to them.
You guys are.
When will they see people move in?
But you know.
Uh,
It's good.
I don't think it will be till February 1st.
Okay.
There was some talk of January 15th, but now we've lost a little bit of time, so I think, and with the holidays, I really don't think it'll be till February 1.
Open Hall, Len, anything?
They're progressing really rapidly in getting their lighting project. They have this very sophisticated lighting. It's too bad the museum is closed. If you're familiar with it, when you go in the front door, there's these three stained glass windows that were originally on the outside of the building before they built the new wing. And we've just put in some very high-tech LED lighting panels behind it, so it would almost look like the sunlight is shining through them, and they're just stunning. So, you know, they're closed for the season, and it's just figuring out, they found some structural things and some other things that they're doing that has nothing to do with our funding of the project, but that, as I said to them today, and I would say to people publicly, that contractor who also did the Spire Centers, if you have anything like that you wanna have done, those are the guys you wanna have doing them. I mean, they're just pretty amazing, the quality of the work they do.
And Plymouth Center for the Arts.
Could I just add
Oh,
one thing to that?
yes.
I know that their Pilgrim Hall is gonna be applying for their last funding amount. I guess KKK, or there's been some correspondence between the town and Pilgrim Hall on terms of releasing the final amount.
Yes,
And some of those terms I think it was like they were looking for making the place free to residents. Making Pilgrim Hall free to residents. I know it's already free because of previous articles and we had in the past. The CPC would have an article go into town meeting, we would be working with the applicant. And we would say to the applicant, will you give us free access to the building for 10 or 15 years as a result of this? And they'd say yes. But when we did this one, that wasn't something the committee asked for. But it's apparently, I was told that it's being asked to kind of retro.
There are negotiations going on because the original signed agreement they want to change that, and then to change that, the town's negotiating with them what to do to change
Yeah,
that.
so what is the
So
change?
part of
what is
that
the-
is correct, and part of it is not quite correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
so.
A historic
Sure.
restriction is required.
I
and
guess
that's what
we're
they're
gonna need some sort of, I'm just saying. Tim, you gotta let me finish.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been brought to my attention by some residents that they're concerned about this, and I didn't know about it. And I guess things are going on, that they're telling me one thing and town council's doing another, so I'll try to do my best to do what I usually do now, is kind of an episode of CSI, finding out what's going on.
Mhm.
But it would be nice if we could get an update at the next meeting. I guess
Well-
we'll leave it at that.
I can tell you, the original agreement had a provision that they had to get a historic designation for the money. And if you read that agreement, in my opinion, I'm not a lawyer, it contradicted itself. So the problem is, to get that historic designation was going to take a long time, and it was gonna create a cash flow issue for them. Supposedly, they've been talking to the town, whoever it may be, to try to renegotiate that agreement. And I think, like you said, one of the conditions was to put that in there that said the museum was open at no charge to town residents.
Okay, that's.
And that's what I understand is going on.
That
I may
very
be completely wrong, but that's what I understand.
Because we did, when we sent this to town meeting, they were gonna provide us with a preservation restriction. So that is an accurate thing to ask. They should not be.
That's all we're waiting
negotiating.
on. That's all we're waiting on.
Okay, you're not asking for free to residents.
No,
Okay, good, thank you,
yeah,
Okay,
all done.
it's just a historic
Sorry.
restriction.
Center for the Arts, Mike.
The only thing they're waiting on are the front doors still, they've been struggling to find a contractor available to provide a reasonable quote. They've had some promising leads that could wrap up the upgrade by mid-February. But they're looking for approval from the Town Inspectional Services Division regarding egress and associated door approval. This has now been pending for over a year, and this was written to the building department. Can the committee provide any assistance in expediting a review with Steve Massiello?
Can you forward that to me?
Yeah.
please?
Yeah.
That was a lot.
I mean, you guys could ask Kristen to follow up on that.
Right.
Get some information.
Okay.
Yeah,
I had different door information, that's why, so I just want to read that myself, and if I could.
There was an update to the building department. I think she might have been going there tonight if they were meeting.
Hmm.
But I'll forward this.
Hey, but by the way, based on your conversations about finding door people, there's 3 people out there looking for a door person right now. Michael Berry.
Yeah.
Correct.
And they have 2 estimates already, they just don't agree with the price and the timing on getting it done.
Okay, good. So there are some,
There are some-
I'll remind them to contact you directly.
That would be
with
good,
this.
yeah, it should be copied on any email, so I know
Okay,
that
good.
is helpful.
I just sent it to this.
I've asked that of her.
Lynn, thank you
before.
very much.
you're
for
welcome.
Everything tonight.
Thanks, Lynn.
Thank
Very,
you.
very informative. Yes, it was excellent. Thank
You
you.
have us going in the right direction.
So we have
Yeah.
2 online.
Yes, the next thing on the agenda is public comment. Is there anyone
Good night,
Good
thank you.
wishing to address the committee in public comment?
Nope, nobody,
Al or Tammy?
No hands up?
no hands up. Motion to adjourn?
Our next meeting will be January 22nd, 2026 at 5:30 PM. And if there's any other discussion or questions or concerns?
Merry Christmas, happy holidays.
Yeah, we would normally meet the second week, but I will be out, I'm having surgery, so, I figured we could take the month anyway, we're caught up right now.
What's the January what?
22nd. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Thank you.